Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here with yet another brew review coming to you all the way from Antwerp, Belgium. Now today I am taking you back to the south of France once more, but this time for a brewery breakdown. It's been way too long and yeah, we'll taste one of the beers while talking as well, because why not, right? While climbing in Buis-les-Baronnies and hiking around the Mont Ventoux, which are both in the south of France, I discovered a very small brewery in Saint-Jalle, which is just above the cities of Avignon and Orange. Now I am talking about the Brasserie de La Mousson, or the Monsoon Brewery, but it goes by different names as well. Actually, I couldn't find much about this brewery, but I do hope to visit it next year, probably in April, and maybe even meet the brewers themselves. The story goes that Rémi Bode took over the Fauchière farm in Saint-Jalle in 2008 and started growing brewing crops the year after that. Now, the farm had 24 acres or 24 hectares of workable land, including 4 hectares of wheat, 3 hectares of einkorn, 4 hectares of malting barley, and several fields of lentils and chickpeas and such. In 2010, he founded the Gaec de Petits Grains with Arnaud Alain in order to provide for Rémi's brewing activities and Arnaud's bakery. After all, they could produce 20 tons of wheat flour per year, and about 8 tons of barley, which they sent to Malteur Eco to be malted. On the side, they also have about 80 meters of aroma hops, mainly Trissespalt, which they harvest by hand and use in their own beers. And as far as I know, no bitter hops are grown on the premises. The brewery has a capacity of 1500 liters per brew, and according to one resource, it produces about 18,000 liters per year, which is not much, and after a quick calculation brings us to 12 brews per year. So either my research has failed me this time, or this is just a very unique beer brewed exclusively during monsoon season as advertised, and I was just very lucky to get some. In 2015, after the owner of the farm had passed, it was left to Rémi's parents, who in turn sold it to Terre de Liens. And in 2015, Lucien Eberhard joined the farm as well, launching his Brasserie de Tilleuil, or Bivouac Brasserie, meaning they share the brewery. Now Rémi and Alain use the same equipment for the hot phase, but as soon as the cooling starts, they each have their own production line. In the case of Rémi and his Brasserie de La Mousson, he benefited greatly from mastering the skill of stainless steel welding, because stainless steel is expensive and welding is even more expensive. Him being able to weld meant that he could mix and match components from all kinds of installations, ranging from dairy farms, viticulture, even pharmaceuticals, and puzzle it into his own brewery at quite a large discount. For example, he salvaged a counterflow pipe heat exchanger from a winery and a clarinet or a valve collector from another production site. He also turned a filtration tank from another winery into one suitable for brewing in his brewery by adding a side door, installing washing balls, putting in extra inlets at several levels, replacing the filter base, and so on, all by hand. So it was just him and his TIG welder. I was lucky enough to get my hands on both these beers, so the Ambrée and the Blonde. And the first thing that catches my eye is the beautiful, simple label with what seems to be an aquarelle of a lake with some trees and mountains in the background. So pretty much the environment the brewery is in. The logo doesn't say Brasserie de La Mousson, but it says Paysans Brasseurs depuis 2009, or farm brewer since 2009. And they did add this Gaec de Petits Grains logo at the label. Now it also holds a slogan saying Bière fermière brassée en Drôme tropical, meaning farm beer brewed in a tropical region. And I must admit that it is way more catchy in French than in English. Another thing that springs out is the emphasis on the ingredients list. They really emphasize everything is grown locally and biologically and no GMOs are used. Now, I'm not against GMOs, but that's a whole different story. But you guys also know that I am a sucker for details, and here it comes. Because food produce has to be traceable, every product needs to have a lot number or a batch number. That way we can track and remove all affected products in the case anything would ever go wrong. Only the law says products need a lot ID and nowhere states that that ID should be a number. Now, of course, when producing many batches, a number sequence is quite handy. But in small breweries like this one, you can get creative. So in this case, we have lot numbers Amour and Peace carrying out their message in the shadows as well. Now let's have a taste. I am starting with this Ambrée because the Ambrée style is a French staple and I kind of feel like it. And so far, all I have found is that this is a 5.2% ABV amber beer brewed with malted barley, so no wheats. And Remy tends to only hop his beers lightly in order to draw more attention to the grains. And I bet that is also why they don't have any bitter hops. So yeah, let's take a crack at it. Again, my trusted tasters. Very active. Now I read online somewhere that someone tasted this and said almost no carbonation. But I really do beg to differ, because we almost had a slight gushing. Ooh, I see that there is a bit of damage in this bottle cap, so we might have some oxidation. Fingers crossed, let's hope not. Now, I do see a lot of very active carbonation here. You might be able to hear this. So a lot of carbonation, a lot of carbon dioxide. I do see that this has a lovely coppery orange color and some nice orangey, beigeish foam. Probably dissipating quite quickly. Ooh, smells very malty, very grainy actually. Because this being lively as hell, I do get a lot of carbon dioxide in the nose as well, of course. But yes, very grainy, and I do get a bit of fruitiness in there. Let's say some orange peel, which as far as I know is not added to the beer, but I do get that aroma. And a very, very light hoppiness. So I am going out on a limb and guessing that they used the Trichespalt for this one, but I haven't had that confirmed anywhere. Also a tiny hint of brown sugar, not meaning that they added it, but the aroma is present. And there we go. This actually sparkles more than champagne or Coke. So all the foam has gone, no more head, but still very, very active. Let's have a taste. I do get the idea of that one person that wrote no carbonation, because even though we can see the bubbles and they actually spring up to here, I don't really taste the carbonation. It is rather flat when it comes to mouthfeel. But it is quite tasty. First off, it is very grainy. It is relatively sweet, so a lot of leftover sugars or starch. Very, very drinkable. Yeah, it is quite typical for an Ambrée, or this also reminds me of a Doble Malta in Spain. But this is, of course, a very southern style of beer. A bit of caramel. Actually, when I said brown sugar earlier, I might have been thinking about caramel. I actually get a bit of almond in the back of my throat, a bit of marzipan, for example. But yeah, I think that Remy really succeeded in his idea of making a very grainy malty beer. I don't get a lot of hoppiness. I do get a slight bitterness. I do get some tingling on the back of my tongue. But it's not really present in the flavor or in the aroma. It's more like the feeling that we get. So again, well done. I do get a tiny bit of dryness in the aftertaste. But initially, this is a very nice, drinkable, relatively sweet amber beer. I would say not really my cup of tea, but it is a very decently brewed beer. So let's go over to scoring it. I would score this somewhere along the 3.25 region, because it's not my favorite style. It's not my cup of tea either. I have drank in this style way better beers, but this is very decently brewed. I do miss some form of carbonation in the taste, which is really odd and counterintuitive because it is very, very sparkly in the glass. And I do love the bottle and the label, but yeah, let's keep it at like 3.25-ish, somewhere around that region. But I am very curious for the blonde. Also, I am very happy after seeing the state that the bottle cap was in on the inside, that there is actually no oxidation in this beer, so it hasn't gone off yet. Which is also very lucky, because I can't just go to the store and get another one. I really have to drive for like 9 hours to get one of these. But yeah, that all being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I would say visit their website, but they don't have one. If you're ever out and about, if you can get your hands on one, do so. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more, subscribe, hit the bell icon, you'll get notified whenever I upload something, which should be every Saturday and Sunday-ish around 8 o'clock. And yeah, if you want to meet me in real life, just down in the comment section or in the description, you'll see some places that I work, and we might meet up someday. Until the next time, cheers!